According to an official at the Ministry of Health, COVID-19 pandemic still poses a threat. Therefore, society should remain vigilant, continue to practice good hygiene, wear protective masks, maintain social distancing, and abide by the rules and regulations set out by the Ministry of Health.
Dr. Mohammed Al-Saidan, who is a public health specialist working for the Public Health Department, spoke to the English News about some of the most important precautions that society should comply with to protect themselves and their loved ones from COVID-19. Ghanwa Al-Jabouri brings us this report.
The COVID-19 pandemic still exists and remains to pose a threat on society, according to an official at the Ministry of Health. Society, therefore, should remain vigilant, practice good hygiene, and wear protective masks in order to curb the spread of the coronavirus.
While the cases have peaked last May in Kuwait, and the number of cases today are much lower, we are still seeing some transmission in Kuwait, like many other countries in the world. And I think it's very important that people are more vigilant about this, because the disease hasn't gone away. The virus is still around. And with the reopening, we're going to see more people go to different public places, and there might be some, and a lot of people going back to work. And while we feel more confident that the healthcare system is not stressed, it's very important for us to adhere to all the Ministry of Health guidelines, with keeping the social distancing and making sure that we're not transmitting the disease anymore between us. And otherwise, we might end up with a second wave like all the other countries. Once you relax and you're not strict and you're not adhering to the guidelines, you might end up with a new surge of cases.
Kuwait recently relaxed its coronavirus restrictions and moved into phase 3, allowing hotels to reopen, taxis to operate, among other various businesses. However, in order to avoid a second wave of the novel coronavirus, it is important that communities remain to social distance and comply with the rules and regulations set out by the Ministry of Health.
Well, so the Ministry of Health has done a lot of work in terms of COVID, and we've done a lot of testing. Actually, we have different avenues for testing and following of the patients and doing a lot of monitoring. In fact, we have multiple avenues that are open for the public, and we're proudly one of the highest countries in the world in testing per capita. And the Ministry of Health has been working very closely with other government entities, including aviation, the municipality, and in fact, most of the government, to make sure that we have everything in place in different stages of this COVID pandemic to protect the public.
Furthermore, it is highly recommended that society, and especially the youth, be extra careful and avoid unnecessary gatherings, because ultimately they might be carriers of the virus but be asymptomatic while passing it on to their loved ones who are vulnerable and might not be able to fight the virus as well as the young can. I'm Ghanwa Al-Jabouri reporting to you for the English News.